MMA Boxing Talk here. I just want to put out a little UFC 206 video. Great fights last night. They really came through. I was glad to see the arena was packed. And there was a lot of people, bashing this card because there wasn't a great main event and all this stuff. But there was great fights. The hardcore fans knew this was going to be a great card. So I'm just glad it really delivered. Now, we had two of the nicest knockouts of the year. Donald Cerrone knocking out Matt Brown via head kick, shin right to the chin, and Lando Vannata also spinning back kick, wheel kick, whatever you want to call it, heel right to John McDessie's jaw, knocks him out. So those were two highlight reel, two of the nicest knockouts I've ever seen. And of course, we had arguably the fight of the night with Cub Swanson versus Choi. What a great fight that was. I picked Cub Swanson to win, I picked Choi to win. So hats off to Cub Swanson, proving me wrong. He looked great. He really dictated the pace, and really outworked Choi. So great win for him. And Cowboy Cerrone, of course, beautiful knockout. This guy is just unstoppable at 170. Of course, now he's going to start fighting, the top 5-6 guys all the time now. So we'll see. He's not the biggest or strongest in this division, but he certainly has the skills and techniques. But let's talk about the main event. Max Holloway on a 10-fight win streak. He becomes the first guy ever to stop Anthony Pettis. Of course, you got to take in consideration Anthony Pettis is not really optimal at this weight class, but Holloway still went out and stopped him, and it's impressive, Holloway looked great with his footwork, his in and out, slipping in, slipping out of the pocket, landing shots. Doesn't have the most power, but very technical, very efficient. His flurries are very accurate and efficient. Just a treat to watch. He really is, and I'm glad to see him pick up, the interim title. So it only makes sense for him to fight Jose Aldo next. It's going to happen. Conor's not going back down to fight Aldo. I don't even think Conor's interested in fighting Aldo at 155. I mean, maybe, but then the problem is the new champion, Aldo just becomes a new champ, and now he wants to not defend the title. So we're getting into this problem again. So that's why you make Holloway versus Aldo. Aldo eventually he's gonna accept, just like he did when he fought Frankie Edgar the second time. He gave in and said, "Okay, I'll fight." He's gonna do the same. He's gonna fight Max Holloway, probably in March, April. I'm gonna say. It'd be cool to see it on UFC 209, which is March 4th in Vegas. I'd like to see Holloway versus Jose Aldo on that card, UFC 209, March 4th, and also put Tony Ferguson versus Khabib Nurmagomedov on that same card. That'd be a great main and co-main event. So let me know what you guys think about that. But I definitely want to see Holloway fight Aldo. It was funny after the fight. He was really calling Aldo out. Hashtag Where's Jose Waldo. I thought that was hilarious, and I'm really glad to see this guy. Just making the best of this opportunity. He was the headliner on a main card in Canada, and in Canada has a pretty good market for fights. It was great to see. Like I said, they filled in the arena despite it being not the best card on paper to the casual fans. People still went out and showed up to watch this, and it was a great evening. It's nice to see the Canadian fans just really love Max Holloway. They really embraced him as one of their own, and even Max Holloway saying he feels like he's part Canadian now, it being his second headliner in Canada. But great performance by Max Holloway. Did not surprise me one bit that he finished Anthony Pettis, and he's on a 10-fight win streak. It's simply remarkable what he's been doing. The thing is once he beats Aldo, I think he's going to beat Aldo, but he's got to face Aldo. We've got to beat him. But if he gets past Aldo, he's going to have already beat a lot of the top contenders in the division. You know, guys like Cub Swanson, guys like Ricardo Lamas, Jeremy Stevens, Charles Oliveira, Anthony Pettis. So I mean, you know, obviously you got the Frankie Edgar fight. Um, I'd like to personally see Cub Swanson versus Frankie rematch. Because right now, you know, Frankie and Cub, they're kind of like they're not gonna skip ahead of Max right now. Mendez is out of the picture, so have those two guys fight, and then, you know, possibly Max Holloway or Aldo, whoever wins that, fights the winner of Frankie Edgar versus Cub Swanson. I think that'd be a good rematch. But let me know what you guys think. I just wanted to give my thoughts on this fight. It was a great card. You know, everything you want in a fight card. You had a fight of the year candidate. You had a couple beautiful technical head kick knockouts. Probably the nicest head kick knockouts I've seen all year. If I'm forgetting about a beautiful head kick knockout, let me know, remind me. But those were probably the two best I've seen all year for sure. And nice to see Max Holloway, get that interim strap. It should secure the fight with Jose Aldo. So glad to see him do that. And he's a real great fighter. And can't wait to see what's next. The future's very bright for Max Holloway. He's only 24, 25 years old. Lots and lots of potential. And it's going to be a treat to see his career unfold. But that's it for this one. If you liked the video, subscribe. Check me out on Twitter at MMA Boxing Talk 1. Peace.